Hello there. Today's video is on CSS, and it's a big one. It's called box shadow. So I've got this page with a paragraph, and this is the HTML and CSS. The paragraph is actually inside of a div, and that's what we're going to be working with is the div. So div curly brace. Remember to close your curly brace, and then we're going to do a tag called box shadow. Box shadow is going to put a shadow on that div, and it basically puts it on a, let's say we're going to put it right behind it. So we'll do 0 pixels, and blur 10 pixels. And we'll save that and refresh. Let's put a margin on the div. So margin of 100 pixels. That'll move it towards the center of the page. There we go. And that puts a bit of a shadow behind it. So the first number here is the x-axis, the horizontal axis. So let's say we want to move it 100 pixels to the right. There we go. We can do 100 pixels to the left by doing negative 100, or we can just do 10, which is a reasonable number. There we go. We can actually move it up or down by doing 10 pixels, which should move it down 10 pixels. There we go. We can do negative 100 pixels, and that'll move it up 100 pixels above. Or we can just do negative 10 pixels, which is a little more reasonable. I don't like to get too extreme with my shadows or any combinations of positive and negative numbers, and get it to where you want it to be. The blur will spread out how far the shadow blurs out. So we'll say 100 pixels, and it's going to be a great big blur, or 20 pixels, and it's a slightly smaller blur. We could do just 10 pixels. Usually I just like to keep them all the same size on these three. There's also the spread, which is how far it will spread out. We'll say it spreads out to 10 pixels. I'm going to take the blur off just for a minute so you can see it. And you can see that the shadow has no blur, looks just like a solid line, and it is just 10 pixels wider. Let's fix that. Just 10 pixels wider than the actual image. Let's make it 50 pixels and refresh. 50 pixels wider. Put a blur on it. Refresh. There we go. It's just 10 pixels wider. The blur itself is actually 10 pixels, which is from here to here, but it extends out 50 pixels. So there you go. I don't like to mess with these numbers too much. I just like a good simple scheme where they're all exactly the same, like that. I may mess with these first two numbers just to get the vertical or horizontal placement the way I want it to be, but the actual blur and the spread of it, I don't want to mess with too much. There's also the option to put a color on it, so we'll do a blue, and we have a blue shadow. And there's another option which we'll look at in a minute, but I really don't like the way this is going, so I'm going to put black, because to me all shadows should be black. We're going to put a border on this guy, so border of 10 pixels, blue, solid. Go refresh, put a border radius on it. The border radius always is fun. I always like making a border radius, so border radius of 25 pixels. I'll probably need to put a padding on this guy now. Let's put a padding on it just for good measure. Padding of 25 pixels and refresh. There we go. Always love a border radius, and you can see that the shadow behind it also curved just like the shape of the border. So let's put a border radius of actually 50 pixels. There we go. Let's put a background color on it. A background of red, and refresh. There we go. Nice red background. And we can mess with this guy some more, so we'll move it a little further to the right and a little further up. So we'll make it say negative 20 pixels, so it looks like the light is coming from underneath. It's kind of cool. Let's put a background on the body. So the body will have a background think we can do yellow. Yellow will probably work. Yeah, kind of works. See? It's all right. But the background color kind of lends to the effect because you can see the background color point through the blur. The blur, again, let's make the blur a little bigger, like that. It's pretty nice. The one option we haven't discussed on the box shadow is inset. And for that, I'm going to reset everything back to 10 pix. So, because, well, let's set everything back to 10 pix first. There we go, 10 pix, and the inset. So inset will make it look like the thing's caved in, puts it inside of the thing. And if you're doing an inset, you can probably just do 0 pix, 0 pix, and that makes it go all the way around. You can probably do a border of ridge, maybe? I don't know. Ridge. Oh, border of groove. Yeah, apparently that doesn't work. So, oh, because I got solid and groove. Duh. Ridge. Groove. Inset. Outset. Maybe if I just did black. Maybe if I just stuck with a solid border and left it that way. Let's put it back to blue. Alright, so you don't spend more time talking about the other tags than I have about the actual one the video is about. So that is a box shadow, and it will default to putting things to the right of the item that you're putting the box shadow on. So 0 pix will line up directly. If I put 10 pix, it'll be 10 pix to the right. If I put negative 10 pix, it'll be 10 pix to the left. Same idea here. That's the y-axis. So 0 pix is exactly with the div. 10 pix below. 10 pix would be 10 pix below. Negative 10 would be 10 pix above. This is the actual blur, how big the blur on the edges winds up being. And then you've got the spread. So you've got a solid color, and then you hit the blur. So you got 10 pix of solid color and then 10 pix of blur, and then whatever color you want. And you can actually do various colors, such as hex codes. Oh, still doing the inset. Let's put it back on outset. There we go, on the outside. This is hex codes, which means that it runs from the numbers 0 through 9, and then since it's a base 16 counting system, you have 6 extra digits of A through F, and then you hit 10 through 19, and then 18 through F-teen, I guess, and then 20. So if you really don't know how hex codes work, they wind up being to that much of red, and then say 23 units of green, and 76 units of blue. So RGB. Refresh. And if that just confused the heck out of you, go to a website called Color Lovers. It'll give you all the hex codes of lots of colors. Go there on your own time. We're not going to talk about that during the video. But you can just stick with simple colors like black. Black works. Black's pretty awesome. But there we go. And of course the last option that I didn't go back over again was the inset, which puts the shadow on the inside of whatever you're putting the shadow on, as opposed to just leaving it out and it goes on the outside of whatever it is you're talking about. So that's the tag for box shadow. Hopefully you've learned something from this video and you'll get to use it in the future, because it is kind of a cool CSS thing. And thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the experience of this tutorial, why not share it with your friends?